Good morning, family. Everybody smile at me. All right. This is a little different for, the song is a little different for this service, but it's what's in me heart this morning. And I love the declaration of this. In spite of everything that's going on in the world, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. I said something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. I feel it in my body, I feel it in my soul, I feel it in my heart, and it won't let go. Oh, no, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Oh, yes, something wonderful. I said something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. I believe I'll testify. I feel it in my body. Yeah, I feel it in my soul. I feel it in my heart, and it won't let go. Oh, yes, something wonderful. I know something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Sing it with me. Something wonderful. Something wonderful. Yeah. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. One more time, just sing those lyrics. Something wonderful, something wonderful. I know something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. All this love inside, we can let it shine. Yeah, something wonderful, my Lord, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. In spite of everything, something wonderful. I said I know something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful. Yes, it is. I believe Reverend Alara is going to come and share a sacred reading, but as she's coming to the podium, if she will turn and face the congregation as well as the rest of our spiritual support team that's here today, if you will stand. And we just want to say thank you for being here to serve our wonderful community. They are more than willing to share space with you, for holding space for something that you have need of, and praying with you. Some of them even zap you with some Reiki if you want them to. But we're grateful for the spiritual support team. If you're grateful for them, give them a round of applause. They do bring their energy here every single week, so thank you. And now, Reverend Alara.
Is this on? Okay. Good morning. Today we're speaking about releasing the old to manifest the new. So imagine walking into a garden that has overgrown weeds, dried leaves, clutter everywhere. No matter how rich the soil is, no new seeds can grow until space is cleared. So our spiritual lives work the same way. The energy of trauma and negative emotions, negative beliefs and thoughts that may have been ingrained in us from childhood affect our manifesting ability. So I invite you to repeat some of these affirmations after me. whether in your heart or out loud, however you feel comfortable. Okay. I release all that no longer serves me, making space for new blessings. I let go of past limitations and open fully to my highest potential. Every breath I take clears old energy, making way for new opportunities. I trust the process of transformation and welcome change with an open heart. The more I surrender, the more miracles flow into my life. I lovingly release all that is complete, knowing that something greater is unfolding. As I let go, I rise into my true power and purpose. I am ready to receive all the love, joy, and abundance that is meant for me. Everything I desire is already finding its way to me. I release all resistance and allow miracles to unfold. How'd that feel? So now I'd like you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And this is a reading from Creative Thought magazine. It's a spiritual mind treatment. I know there's only one presence, one spirit, one God, one light. I know this light shines within me. It is the constant source in my life. As my light radiates, it illuminates my way and helps others find their own right and perfect path. The light in me flows brightest as I open my mind and heart to all, no matter how they may appear. I know Spirit's light is within everyone, and as I am able to see it in others, I see it more clearly in myself. I am the light. I am a vital, shining part of the world. I am willing to release any darkness from every corner of myself, letting go of old anger, resentment, and thoughts of lack or dis-ease, and my light grows even brighter. The universe is a limitless and receptive sea of creativity, awaiting my awareness and conscious participation. Deep peace is mine, knowing all I have dreamed of is manifest now. And so it is. Thank you.
Powerful. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. I'm Reverend Serena. Good morning. So, begin to settle in wherever you are. Make yourself comfortable, whether you're here in this holy space or you're at home in your peaceful place. Oh, that rhymed. Yeah. For nearly 5 years, I've been a part of a manifesting group, mastermind group. And I just share that because every single thing that we ever put in the circle manifested. It outpictured. It became. And so I know the power. I know the power we have. So pay attention to your breath now. Just noticing your own power in your breath, your own rhythm of breath. And as you do, you allow your body to begin to relax. Just maybe even roll your shoulders or twist, turn your head. Yeah. And feel your spine aligning with each breath you take. Feel the comfort that the breath brings to your body. The ease, the relaxation. And every sound you hear now causes a deeper relaxation. And every thought you may think, even that causes you to relax more deeply. Just noticing the thoughts and letting them pass on by. And any feelings attached to the thoughts, oh, just notice them, acknowledge them. Feelings love to be acknowledged, but you don't have to hold on to them. So let them pass on by. And now, with your next inhale, fill your whole torso with that life-giving breath. Feel your breath going deep and wide. And when you exhale, exhale slowly and fully. And again, bring the breath in deeper and wider, expanding, enlarging the space. The inhale expands and the exhale creates space for you to receive. And just notice how deeply you're inhaling, what you're letting go of as you exhale fully, slowly. If you haven't already, you can gently close your eyes. Stay aware of your primary eye. Sometimes it helps to just sort of look up into your primary eye. Imagine that you can do that. Just let your eyes look up and bring them back into your normal position. Also helpful is to put your tongue behind your two front teeth, allowing your jaw to relax. And now, notice your natural rhythm of breath again. And with each exhale, you may want to identify what no longer serves you. It could be something material, or a habit, or a relationship that is unhealthy for you. It might be limiting beliefs or thoughts that cause you anxiety or even depression. It can be anything you choose to let go of to make more space for receiving. Letting go. What is it that you wish to receive? With your inner voice, express what you desire and be very clear. Speak it positively, affirm it as if it has already occurred. And once you speak it, express your gratitude. Gratitude, according to the keys to the kingdom, is one of the strongest and most affirmative spiritual energies at your command. And when we feel a deep sense of gratitude, we're focusing our creative energy and bringing it to bear on our life. And now, with your inner voice, you may choose to affirm these words with each breath. Release. Believe. Understand. Decide. Forgive. Ask. Accept. And receive. And recognizing your power as a manifestation of the Creator Source, you may affirm these statements inwardly, just filling in the blank. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. Yes, you are. You are abundance itself. Now you have a covenant in which it is agreed with Creator Source, all that is, shall supply you with an abundance of all things necessary to live a successful and happy life. You may also want to affirm inwardly, I live in a manner that sets the highest example for others and that serves God, Creator Source, all that is, and my fellow human beings. And so it is. Gently now, opening your eyes when you're ready, feeling your body, roll your shoulders and move your ankles and wrists, your fingers and toes. Stretch your arms above your head. Allow a full inhale, exhale, and place your hands in prayer position, bringing them down to your third eye and then to your heart. The love, beauty, and power within me sees the love, beauty, and power within you. Namaste.
Om Shanti. Om. Om. Lovely, lovely. Thank you. And thank you, Reverend Alara, as well, for sharing with us this morning. Everybody smile at me. You're beautiful. What an interesting week. What an interesting season. Anybody else notice the interestingness of the energy swirling all around us? And we can choose to, work with it or work against it. It's all up to us. This is Keys to the Kingdom, Queendom, part 6 for me, but it's chapter 4, I believe, for the group study. And as soon as I saw the title, I was like, oh yeah, because that is happening. Transition and making room for the new. Somebody say, I make room for the new. This is what I would call the emptiness key. The emptiness key. And, in Buddhist philosophy, emptiness, the Sanskrit word is sunyata. And it is really about emptying out, but not being necessarily empty-headed. How many of you ever met someone that you thought, I might be a little empty-headed? But it's not about that kind of emptiness as much as it is just making space. Even the word nirvana we've associated as the Buddhist heaven. But what makes it heavenly is that the word nirvana in Sanskrit means to blow out, means to exhale. And it's another way of saying emptiness. It's another way of saying letting go. So this idea of emptiness, to me, is about us letting go of the rigidity of the sense of self, identity, and then me separate from everything else and everyone else. Many of us feel like and this may be the case, I don't know, but that we were dropped off here or something, but I think we came out of the earth, just kind of like the flowers do, that we are connected to it and it's connected to us, that we are in a constant dance with it. Instead of living our lives like a train track, we should live our lives like a dance. You know what I mean? Like we live our lives like we're headed in a particular direction. And so that anything that kind of like gets in the way of that, we get extremely frustrated about it. And it's interesting, the things we get frustrated about, because most of the frustration and the suffering that we have is really attachment to the way we think things should be, rather than being able to accept the things that are as they are. Now, there is a level of resistance that will cause persistence. Then there are some who feel that if there's not some resistance, there's going to be some persistence of what exists. And to a degree, both can live in the same world. We can see the tension of what happens in that space, but tension is just inviting our attention, so that in that space we can set forth a new intention. So when you feel tension, allow yourself to go there. Give it some attention. And in that space, set a new intention. So this shift in our reality from the rigidity of the identity, it allows us to break free, to really finally be free from the suffering, to empty out, gives us the ability to be free from the suffering that's holding us back. It gives us space so that not only do we not feel claustrophobic, but we also create, part of the law of circulation is a vacuum. We create a vacuum. There's more space now for something else to fill it. Sometimes it's the breaking open or the breakdown that leads to the breakthrough. It's the dying of the seed in the ground that brings it multiplication. And when I think about making room for new and the emptiness key, there's a few words that come to my mind, and those words are exhale. See, some of us are holding our breath right now. We're clutching and we're holding our breath. So we need to learn how to exhale. In fact, let's do that real quick. The exercise of breathe in and really let go. See, some of us mentally and spiritually really need to do that. It needs to be, we need to really clear out those spaces within us that have become a little clogged up, congested. So the word let go, or the words let go, come to mind when I think about making room for the new. The word release, although, as Reverend Serena pointed out, to release is to lease again. So maybe release is not necessarily a good thing, but if you think about it this way, your original lease was the whole planet is yours to utilize as creation, and we have given that lease away to a different set of beliefs, and we need to in some way sign that new lease back with the world is here for you, not against you. The world is yours. As we know the old sayings, the cliche saying, the world is your oyster. It is, in fact, your oyster, and all of the creative forces are waiting for us to simply align with the activity that's already occurring. But the way to do that is to let go of our BS, as we talked about last week, our belief systems. Is to unclench. Do this real quick. Just kind of shake a little bit. Taylor Swift sang about it. Shake it off, shake it off. Okay. there's some of us need to consider when we wake up in the morning, maybe doing that. Before we come back into the house from a day of work where there's all kinds of energies, maybe a little bit of psychic bath on the front porch. You know, especially if you live with people and they're having to deal with you, right? There's a door check, yeah. I heard this story of a man, actually knew a man who was a construction worker, and he had hired a young man to work with him, and after a couple of months, they'd gotten to know each other, and he wanted to introduce him to his family, so he decided to bring him home for dinner one evening to meet his wife and kids, and, you know, just the young man seemed to be a loner, so he wanted to reach out to him. And so they're walking up the walkway from the driveway, and the young guy notices that the older gentleman who owns the construction company stops at this little bush. And he stops there for a few seconds, and the kid's kind of like, this is a little strange. So they get down, he gets done with whatever that was, and he walks on in the house and says, hey man, come on in. So they go through the whole evening. They have dinner, they laugh, they get to know each other's history. And as he's starting to walk him back outside, the young man says to the gentleman who invited him to dinner, he says, can I just ask a personal question, or maybe strange? Can I ask why you stopped at that bush before you went in? And he said, well, that's my trouble tree. And he said, it's your what? He said, it's my trouble tree. And because I deal with so many things throughout the day, I don't want to bring that into my house, into my place of sanctuary, or to my family. So I kind of drop them off there, and the tree is really kind to bear that burden. And I thought, what an interesting exercise to go through that. How can I find a way to sort of give myself a psychic cleanse on a pretty regular basis, to let go? We're in the spring season, right? So we're coming into the season where we talk about spring cleaning, and maybe it's not just your garage or your closet or that bedroom that you've been putting off cleaning. Maybe it's not just that space that needs to be cleaned. Maybe it's our internal space. Maybe we're so clogged up and congested by what we're experiencing from the world at the moment that we need to be able to let go of it. We need to be able to exhale. So the density and the intensity of our belief systems often leave us without enough room to put anything new, because we just believe this is the way it is. I've been talking about this since the first of the year because, you know, in the political climate we're in currently, there's this idea that some believe that the Savior has arrived and some people are looking for another Savior. And both are wrong. Both are incorrect. There's no one individual that we should bow down and worship. There's not individual personalities. Even when people attempted to worship Jesus, he would tell them to get up. Like, what are you doing? I'm here for you to help you discover your internal Christ nature. Leadership that demands your loyalty and that you follow every single thing they say, and they can't admit when they make a mistake, that's the kind of leadership you want to run from. Because that's not pointing you towards your own greatness, that's asking you to notice theirs. And that's not even greatness, even if it is from a point of power. So we're letting go. And when I think about letting go, and I think about spring cleaning, and I think about clearing out, one of my favorite verses from the Tao Te Ching says, the usefulness of a cup lies in its empty space. This, made of metal, let me get this on camera, Gavin, because Sazzy. All you know Sazzy. Do y'all know Sazzy who attends here? Oh, you don't know Sazzy? Y'all need to know that Jazzy Sazzy. She is a Sazzy lady. Anyway, she got me this because it says Baba for Christmas. So Sazzy, thank you. I was making a point though. If this cup was this kind of material from front to back and it was just that, it would be useless for holding the liquid. It's the emptiness on the inside that makes this the most useful. It's the emptiness of this room that makes the room useful. See, when there's density, there's intensity, there's congestion, it locks us up. It keeps us from being able to have a constant flow. And how many know when you stagnate water, even water will succumb eventually to the bacteria? It's the moving water that's the cleanest. And so this is the same is true for all of us, being able to let go of the intensity and density of our belief systems and the things that have held us in bondage and caused us the most suffering. This whole concept, this idea of emptiness speaks to receptivity and learning, the ability to receive and the ability to learn. It speaks to emptiness as a space of growth. That is the place where things can grow because it's not congested, it's not choked out. It speaks to being humble and teachable. Humility, not humiliation. Humility, the ability to say, I don't know, gives you access to the knowing. It's the I know that's the blind spot. What was that saying? I think it was Mark Twain. Of course, these days, if you Google, if they can't figure out who the quote came from, they just give it to Mark Twain. Don't you know, Mark's off somewhere going, I didn't actually say that, but it's pretty cool that you decided it was my saying. He had a very interesting way of communicating, whoever said this, but basically he said, it's not what you know that is the problem. It's what you know that just ain't so. That's the problem. Because I just know this is the way. This is the problem with dogmatic religion or even dogmatic non-religion. This is why I have a little bit of a bone to pick with both my fundamentalist dogmatic religious friends and my fundamentalist atheist friends, is that both are the same energy. I absolutely know there's a God and this is his name. And I absolutely know there's no God and science proves it. You know, it's like both sides are really kind of the same coin. The problem is the inability to be humble and to be teachable. Somebody say, I want to be teachable. Then say, I choose to be teachable. It's the elasticity that keeps us from breaking. Blessed are the flexible, for they are not easily broken. This also is about giving and receiving. I know that when I give, I make space for reception. I know that when I release, I make room for another breath. I make room for more to come into my life. I noticed as I was sitting on the back porch a couple of days ago doing some writing, I stopped for a moment, and this will happen when I'm writing. Sometimes I'll just kind of stare off into the distance, nothing in particular. But as I was staring off, I noticed this bee bouncing from flower to tree, kind of doing its thing, back to the flower, to the trees. And I went, that's tithing. That's the law of circulation. That's tithing time, talent, and treasure. It's happening right before my eye. The bee landed in the flower. The flower gave an offering to the bee called pollen. The bee then flew up into the air. It landed on the next plant and it gave a percentage of the pollen to that plant. And then it flew to another plant and it gave to that plant. And then it flew to the next plant and it gave to that plant. And then it flew back to the flower. It received more and it did the same cycle. And that cycle of circulation creates healthy vegetation. It happens in nature, and it's so natural to give. The only reason we clench is because the greatest trick that money ever pulled on us is making us believe it's real. I was thinking about money this week, and I went, this is hypnosis. It reminded me of the story. Haven't you ever seen the movie Ten Commandments? But Charlton Heston was in it. It was years ago. I think it was Cecil B. DeMille, I believe, did the movie. The reason I saw it is because my dad was obsessed with that particular movie and loved. My mom and dad both loved Charlton Heston. Anyway, you remember that scene where they create a graven image in the desert? They create this calf of gold. Like they take all of this precious stones, they melt it down, and they make an image. And that's not the worst part. The worst part is then they start to bow their knee to it and worship it after they just created it. The absurdity of bowing our knee to money. It's absurd. Bowing our knee to belief systems we created. Think of the absurdity of that. Why do we do that as human beings? Because it's easier to look outside of us than it is to look inside of us. This is one of the reasons that people find it really challenging to create a real spiritual practice, because you have to go within. And there's so much distraction on the outside. But if you don't go within, you will go without. This is the journey. This is why Jesus says the kingdom of God is within you. This is why Siddhartha Gautama says that in the center of you is the answer to every question. This is where the space for growth is, giving and receiving. Yeshua ben Joseph, also known as Jesus the Christ, said, "Give and you will receive." Now, I know that a lot of this series has been about money. You've been seeing that in the Keys to the Kingdom book study. For me, it's not. Now, that may sound strange, but it's not. Money is one element of this, but prosperity and abundance is not about digits or something made with cotton and ink that we use for exchange. We don't use that as much anymore. Some places have gone completely cashless, but it doesn't matter to me. Side note, have you noticed how people are wigging out and fighting to keep cash? Now, I know there's some people going, but if it's just digital, then somebody can just hack it and take it away. Right. And if it's just cash and we decide as a society that no longer works for the exchange, it's gone too. This is how absurd it is to worship any of it. Because the digital that you see on your screen through an app or wherever at your bank account or an ATM machine, those squiggly lines on there that create numbers, it's just an illusion. And we've made it real. All right. Jesus said, "Give and you will receive." He said, "Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together, running over, making room for more, running over and poured into your lap." And then he says that the amount that you give will determine the amount you get back. The King James says, "And it will be given unto you the measure with which you meet, it will come back to you." So give and it shall be given unto you. Give a breath and you have room to receive it. Give friendship and it will be given unto you. Give your time, your talent, your treasure, and it will be given unto you. It will come back to you. Make the investment and it will return. Jesus used these terms because he wanted to communicate that whatever you give, you're going to get a lot more of the same in return because you're making that investment. It was meant to be circulated, just like the bee hopping from flower to tree. Circulated. To the one who has, more will be given. And let me say this to you. When you circulate substance, you keep the river of prosperity flowing freely. Substance. That's friendship, relationship, honesty, authenticity, money, whatever it is that you are putting into circulation, you're going to receive it back. And you're going to receive it back multiplied. Somebody say, when I give, I receive back multiplied. I am open to receive. I am open to receive. And I freely give. So let's make room for the new. Number one, remove the clutter. How many have heard of the TV show Storage Wars? You've heard me talk about storage. Storage was not a thing when I was growing up, except for in the attic or a closet. Now it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Now they have whole large lots of property and huge buildings that are nothing but storage. And I'd be willing to bet you that less than 10% of the stuff that's in there, from the people who put it in there, less than 10% do they even remember what's in there. Now we even have climate-controlled storage. You can pay a little extra for air conditioning. And listen, I understand that this starts to feel like meddling for some, but for many of us, it's come. I want to point out something. Much of this comes from a scarcity mentality that was created out of the Great Depression. It was passed down from your grandparents to your parents and then to you, and we did what we do wonderfully as human beings. We improved on it. We bought it as a great idea, and we improved. My dad, the running joke about my dad was that he was so tight when he walked, he squeaked. There was a running joke. They used to say, and I was not going to say this, but I think maybe I will say this now. It's a little crude, but anyway, my dad was so tight that he could squeeze the booger out of Abraham Lincoln's nose on a penny. I thought it was a booger, but it's not. My dad would say things like, well, you never know when you might need that. Have you ever heard that statement? So don't give it away, don't throw it away. You never know when you might need that. And that multiplied. My dad, like 3 years ago, bought a whole shed for, well, you never know when you might need that. And the bolts that were nice and silver are now rusted. Come on. There's moss growing on the things, that the stuff that now you go in with a mask because you know. We tend to have clutter in our lives because we believe that scarcity is the truth. We believe more in scarcity than we do abundance. And so the storage business now is multi-billion-dollar business because we can't seem to. And all it is an outward manifestation of what we're doing internally as humanity. And we're failing to exhale. And we're not making room for the next breath. And this is what's causing dis-ease. Number two, as we're talking about making room for the new, number two, opening up your finances. Now, this is something that I had to learn for myself, that the clenching and the clutching is what causes money to be choked out of my life. It's my own clenching and clutching. We used to have another joke about my dad. Is that he's probably got $100 bills with moss growing on them. Refusing to let them go, putting it back for a rainy day. I'm not saying be unwise, but so many of us have been taught wisdom from a scarcity and a fear mentality. And we've bought it. Hook, line, and sinker, and it's caused us to be diseased within our being. And we're stifling up the opportunities that are wanting to present themselves to us. Make this declaration real quick. There is no scarcity in the universe. Scarcity is not real. Now, see, I know there's something in our mind that tells us, yes, but some people live in poverty, some people don't live in poverty. There are people, you can't tell them that scarcity is not real. I know we live in a society that has decided to worship our construct of money and bow our knee to it, give our time to it, give up relationships for it, give up our own health for it. And then we've let that thing that's an idol, it's stagnant, it's not real, it has no energy unless you give it energy. We've allowed that thing to determine who thrives and who dies in poverty, who lives in the big house and who lives on the streets. And that thing has been given entirely too much power. And I know there's something in your head that says, yeah, but what do we do? Well, the game doesn't go away when you awaken to the game. You just realize you're playing it instead of being played by it. Somebody say, I'm wide awake, and I recognize the game. And I choose to play it, not be played by it. It's that simple. Awakening spiritually is about transcending the mind's trick, that you're locked into this identity and into this pain body, and that there's nothing you can do about it. That's really what it means to be born again. To be saved is to be rescued from the mentality that has incarcerated us. So open up your finances. Then, from the space of getting rid of clutter and from the space of opening up your finances, that's just welcoming abundance to come in every way. Chart your course forward from that space. See, live in the now, but in the now moment, create the pathway forward. See, there's no such thing as the future. However, there is a now moment in which you can construct the life you want to live. It is from this space. I release the clutter. I let go of the worry about scarcity. And in this place now, I set my goals. And I broke goals down for me into an acrostic. And the word goals stand for granting opulence, abundance, and lavish support from the universe. I'm granting opulence, and that means just plenty. Opulence. Somebody say, I'm an opulent person. Your soul feels good with that, by the way, even though your brain's like, what does that word mean? Why are you going to choose that word? Because it was an O word. Oh. Somebody say, I'm an opulent person. But I am granting it through setting goals from my present place, from the now moment. I'm granting opulence, abundance, and lavish support from the universe. And as a result of that, I'm injecting life into my goals because I'm doing it in the only place that life exists. Life doesn't exist in the past. It doesn't exist in the future. It exists in the present moment. And when I bring my goals into the present moment, I inject it with life force. And when I do that, I give it the ability to become material in my life. And I'm no longer in service to it. It's in service to me. Folks, let me tell you something. Opulence wants to serve your purpose. That's why it's here. Abundance and prosperity wants to serve your purpose. That's its whole reason for existing. That energy exists to serve the pleasure of divine nature. Can we see that? It's not a slave, but it is a part of our staff. It is the staff in the business of your life. And it's here to do its wonderful work for you. Now, in closing, let's talk about money. Because it is in these moments when we see what's happening with stock market or hyperinflation or the fears around 401ks and IRAs and all of the stuff, when we see what's transpiring, it's in those moments that there's a little bit of shaft of light comes through to show us how absurd this thing is. I wrote some things down about money. I'm going to go through them quickly. We'll put this in the blog tomorrow, okay? Money is a human invention, a pretty new one, in fact, and it's a game we've created and we've agreed upon. If I can admit that, I start opening up the opportunity for wisdom to come. That it is a construct, it's an invention, it's a new one. And it's a game we've created and agreed upon. The only reason we believe it has power is because we played it so long, we forgot we're in a game. We were born into this world and taught this is the way it is. We were taught that 2 + 2 = 4, but that's actually just the illusion of a game we've chosen to play. Well, you're like, well, John, come on, there's got to be some foundational things. Okay? You can't just take it all away. Why not? It's a game we created. Let me say this about money, the money that you have in your current account, the money you may have in your pocket today. It is no more powerful than monopoly money because monopoly is also a game we invented. Yes, but I know, there's our buts in the way again. And then the next thing was we often forget its arbitrary nature. And that's what I intend to point out with saying it's no different than monopoly money. If somebody decided, if enough people decided today that that money that you have in that monopoly box, that game, was of true value based on the numbers that are on that piece of paper, if enough people decided that it had value, it would all of a sudden become an exchange for you. This is why you go to different countries and they have different things. When I went to the UK, I found out that they still do a lot of coins, pounds and pence, and coin is a bigger thing there than it is here in the United States. I mean, we still have coins, but most of us want paper money, and they do have some paper money there. But think about the fact that you can take a match to it, and it'll be gone in an instant. That's how fragile it is, and yet we bow our knee to it. The more we become entangled in this illusion, the heavier our life feels. I choose to not carry the burden of the craziness that we have called absolute. At its essence, money is just a social construct. Somebody say money is just a social construct. We've built our lives around these symbols, and we've granted them power over our worth. Think about the absurdity of that. Here it is. The magic, though, lies in our collective belief in its value. And if we can collectively have disbelief, it loses its magic. When that belief falters, especially during economic crisis, we briefly see the absurdity of the devotions that these tokens carry with them. I looked it up, folks, and this is why I say it's new. I looked it up. Historically, human beings traded through gifts and human connection, not abstract currency. There used to be human connection. We would make that exchange. Somebody would barter. You know, Bob might know how to roof a house. And so Billy may need so-and-so and doesn't know how to roof his house, but he knows how to do something else, and so there would be a bartering. And it's a new construct. Now we bow before numbers and ledgers, and we allow them to dictate who eats and who starves, who lives in the big houses and who sleeps on the streets. But the power isn't in the money. It's in our collective decision to treat it as sacred. Whatever you call sacred becomes sacred to you. Here's the tragedy. The tragedy isn't using money. The tragedy is becoming the servant to money. By recognizing that time, we'll talk about that at another time, that time and money are not inherently real, we reclaim our authority and decide the meaning and the energy behind our resources. Somebody pat yourself on the chest and say, I have within me the source nature. I will not bow my knee to resources. I choose to live from the source. I choose to live from the divine nature. And so we breathe in and we let go. And that is the act of making room for the new. And so I make room for the new. Today I leave out of here and I choose to play the game. But I won't be played by it. Therefore, I won't be plagued by it. I'm not the servant to money. Money is here to serve me. And I welcome it. This is why Jesus said, make friends with it. Don't bully it, but utilize it because it wants to be utilized. It's asking for you to command its next move for your life. Folks, if we'll grasp this, we really can change all of the systems of our world. I believe we're waking up enough as a society that we are not going to allow ourselves to be under the authority of dictatorship, under the authority of oligarchy, under the authority of any more of the machine. We have the power within us to collectively disbelieve in those systems and then collectively believe in a bigger, better vision and version of our human existence. And that's the revival I'm calling for, because I'm just crazy enough to believe it's possible. So make room for the new. by letting go of the old. Namaste. Namaste. Reverend Carey, if you'll come share with us now.
Good morning, family. All right, so our Thursday evening meditation with Reiki is going to be virtual this week. So we will not have it in person. It's going to be streamed to Facebook, YouTube, and our website. Midday Q&A with John and Carrie is, I think we're on episode 8 or 9 now. We're having a lot of fun with it. If you would like to tune in and watch, we do answer a couple questions that come in from our community on a weekly basis. It's every Thursday at noon on Facebook Live. So Leslie Smith will be having her comedy show. It's called One Woman Show. That is this coming Wednesday. You can still get your tickets online, or I believe they'll probably sell them at the door as well. But it's going to be this Wednesday, April 9th, from 5 to 8 p.m. She puts on a beautiful show. Her puppets, I know she's got several puppets because she's a very talented ventriloquist. So we invite you to be a part of that. Mari Castle is going to be holding her holotropic breathwork session next Saturday. So you do still have time to purchase your tickets. They are pre-registration is required. You can scan the QR code in the lobby or at firstunity.org. I want to personally thank everyone who has donated to the Easter Basket Drive. Between the donations, money donations, and the Easter egg stuffing, we're going to have 50 full Easter baskets for our Fostering Hope ministry.
Yes.
So I am very grateful. Thank you so much for that. These children are just going to have the best Easter. Speaking of Easter, we will have a Yes Easter egg hunt on Easter Sunday after the 11 a.m. service. So if you'd like to bring your children or your grandchildren, Emmanuel and Crystal would love to have your babies. And then, I know, Gavin, I skipped it, but I kept it for last. So the Oneness and Social Justice team is asking our First Unity family, and Reverend John as well, to be a part of the Nehemiah Action. That's tomorrow night, 7 p.m. So if you need a ride, I know a couple of our Oneness teams are going to be meeting at the old campus, which is 460 46th Avenue. If you need a ride, you can carpool. And then there is a sign-up sheet in the lobby. It's not that you have to pre-register. We're just trying to get a head count because our goal is to have 120 of our First Unity family at this rally. If you have not signed up for newsletters or text alerts, I highly suggest you do this. There's a lot of information that's going to be flowing this spring season. So make sure you guys sign up online at firstunity.org. Thank you. I love you.
Awesome. Thank you. So one of the things that we want to do tomorrow night, those of you who are not familiar with this, maybe you are by now, Nehemiah Action is really a call to action to hold our politicians, our leaders in the area, hold them to accountability for things that have been promised to the people of the Tampa Bay area, that is clean water and affordable housing. And so we really want to show up. We're trying to get at least 2,000 people in the building. That's why it's being held at First Baptist. They're a part of FAST, but it's being held in their building because it's a larger facility. And we want to all be able to sit together, okay? So that's one of the reasons for the sign-up sheet as well, because we'd love to be able to look for you, and hopefully all of us sit in the same space together so that we can make some noise, some good trouble. Let's get into some good trouble. Let's hold them accountable. Seriously, let's hold them accountable. We elect them. We vote for them. They get paid by our tax dollars. Let's hold them accountable, okay? I think that was it. We're going to I'm going to ask our ushers, our spiritual support team, if you will, to have offering plates at the end of the sanctuary there as we start to leave so that you can make your investment in the space. There are QR codes on the plates. There are ways to give that are going up on the screen right now for everyone who wants to give digitally today. You can take that information down. Also, there are folks who are online joining us, and we welcome you in. Thank you for being willing to give. The ways to give are on the screen now. Most of you in the space here are familiar with it. Those who are watching online, you will be able to have access also to those ways to give. And I want to say thank you to our AV team for sound and videos and lights and all the work that they do. Deeply appreciate that. Okay, let's get together in this space, and I'm going to lead us in our peace song. Let's sing our peace song together. We'll also do our prayer of protection. Right after the prayer of protection, I just want to share something quickly with you, everyone who is in the space today. And you are all so wonderful. Thank you for your love and your energy in the space. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Now there is peace on earth. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Yes, it has. And our prayer of protection together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us.